dead, 15 hurt in New Mexico mass shooting. Pro-Trump senator meets China's vice premier amid trade tensions. Salam Malaysia Mandani, this is World Today. I'm Daniel Baharuddin. 3 people were killed and 15 others injured in a late-night shooting at an unsanctioned car show in a park in New Mexico, police said Saturday, adding that no arrests have been made. The shooting happened at about 10 p.m. Friday in Las Cruces, where about 200 people had gathered for the car show featuring races and trick driving. Las Cruces Police Chief Jeremy Story said the investigation so far revealed that there was an altercation between 2 groups of people and that altercation escalated to gunfire between both groups.
There are 15 people that are injured and 3 that have passed away. This is a huge crime scene with a lot of moving parts. It will take time to process it thoroughly and reopen everything.
Briefing reporters, he said there had been some type of ill will between the groups prior to Friday's shooting. All of the 15 people who were wounded are between the ages of 16 and 36. Las Cruces Fire Chief Michael Daniels said 7 of them were transported to hospitals in El Paso, Texas for further treatment. Police recovered an estimated 50 to 60 shell casings from the sprawling crime scene. The FBI and U.S. Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms and Explosives, ATF, are assisting with the investigation. Israeli artillery and airstrikes hit southern Lebanon on Saturday after Israel claimed it had intercepted rockets fired from across the border, endangering a shaky truce that ended a year-long war between Israel and Lebanese group Hezbollah.
That conflict marked the deadliest spillover of the Gaza war, rumbling across the border for months before escalating into a blistering Israeli offensive that wiped out Hezbollah's top commanders, many of its fighters and much of its arsenal. The Israeli military said in a statement it was also bombing Hezbollah targets in South Lebanon. Lebanon State News Agency reported a spate of Israeli airstrikes and artillery barrages in the country's war-battered south, including border towns and hilltops around 8 kilometers inside Lebanese territory. Saturday's exchange was the first since Israel effectively abandoned a separate ceasefire in the Gaza Strip with Palestinian group Hamas, an ally of Hezbollah. The attacks on Saturday also represent a major escalation by Israel. Lebanese Prime Minister Nawaf Salam said his country was at risk of being drawn into a new war as dozens of other Israeli airstrikes killed at least 7 people.
The United States has lifted a $10 million reward for information leading to the arrest of a major Taliban leader, Sirajuddin Haqqani, according to an Afghan Ministry of Interior Affairs spokesperson. Despite the announcement on Saturday, the FBI still lists the reward on its website, saying Haqqani was believed to have coordinated and participated in cross-border attacks against United States and coalition forces in Afghanistan.
The move comes after the Taliban on Thursday released a U.S. citizen who had been kept in captivity for 2 years. The release of George Glisman, who was abducted while traveling as a tourist in Afghanistan in December 2022, marks the 3rd time a U.S. detainee has been freed by the Taliban since January. In a statement, U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio said Glisman's release represented a positive and constructive step. The Taliban has previously described the release of U.S. detainees as part of its global normalization effort. The group remains an international insurgent since its lightning takeover of Afghanistan in August 2021. No country has officially recognized the Taliban government, although several countries continue to operate diplomatic facilities in the country.
Iran's Revolutionary Guards have unveiled new missile systems on 3 strategic islands in the Gulf, saying they can target nearby enemy bases, vessels and assets, state media reported Saturday. The weapons were deployed on Greater TUNB, Lesser TUNB and Abu Musa near the Strait of Hormuz, a globally vital shipping lane. The naval commander of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps said as Iran now have a tactic, they must arm the island group and make it operative. Ali Reza Tangsiri told state television the Revolutionary Guard are now capable of attacking enemy bases, vessels and assets in the region. The new systems, he added, can completely destroy any target within 600 kilometers. On Thursday, Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi described a letter sent by US President Donald Trump as more of a threat, but said it appeared to offer opportunities, noting that Tehran would respond in the coming days. In remarks broadcast on Friday, US Middle East envoy Steve Witkoff said President Trump was trying to head off armed conflict with Iran by building trust with Tehran. He said the president's letter was not intended as a threat. Iran has controlled the 3 Gulf islands since 1971, despite their sovereignty being disputed with the United Arab Emirates for decades. Huge crowds gathered outside Istanbul City Hall for a 4th night of protest over the arrest of Mayor Ekrem İmamoğlu, who told police Saturday the allegations against him were immoral and baseless. The demonstrations, which began in Istanbul on Wednesday, have since spread to more than 55 of Turkey's 81 provinces, sparking violent clashes with riot police in the country's worst street protests in more than a decade.
İmamoğlu's arrest came just days before he was to have been formally named as the main opposition CHP's candidate in the 2028 presidential race. Following a night in which organizers said 300,000 protesters had rallied in Istanbul, there were similar numbers on Saturday. The boulevard outside the city hall was a sea of people and angry banners reading "Dictators are cowards." On the fringes of the rally, protesters once again clashed with riot police, who fired tear gas, rubber bullets and pepper spray, and also used percussion grenades, as reported by media covering the protests. Earlier Saturday, the 53-year-old mayor was quizzed by police for 5 hours. He denounced the accusations against him as immoral and baseless, according to a statement released by City Hall. The Interior Ministry on Friday said police have arrested 343 people since the start of the protests.
Welcome to On the Table.
Obviously, there are 2 main engines of growth in any economies.
What are the implications of Malaysia's growth on employment, income levels, and also standard of living per population?
From a historical perspective, it's been good.
The capacity in our country can be built to be in the same level as the world standards.
Coming up next, Heathrow Airport resumes full operations following major fire. US Senator Steve Daines, a strong supporter of President Donald Trump, met with China's Vice Premier He Lifeng on Saturday, marking the first visit by a US politician to Beijing since Trump returned to the White House. The Vice Premier also met with Lim Boon Heng, chairman of Singapore's Temasek Holdings. Relations between China and the United States have come under new strain after Trump slapped additional tariffs on Chinese goods, accusing Beijing of not doing enough to stem the flow of fentanyl into the United States. However, noting that China and the United States have many common interests, Li Feng said the 2 sides can become partners and friends to achieve mutual success and common prosperity for the benefit of both countries and the world. When meeting with Lim and his delegation, Li Feng said that since the beginning of the year, China's economy has maintained good recovery momentum. He commented that China welcomed Temasek and other international investors to invest and share the huge market and development opportunities. For his part, Lim said that Temasek is as optimistic about China's development prospects as always and will continue to deepen its work in the Chinese market. At least 3 firefighters and a public servant have been killed in a wildfire in South Korea, prompting the government to declare a state of emergency in southwestern region. According to South Korea's Interior Ministry on Saturday, the fire, which began in Sancheong County on Friday afternoon, prompted the deployment of 304 personnel along with 20 helicopters.
The ministry said more than 200 residents in 15 southern villages have been told to evacuate. According to the Korea Forest Service, wildfires occurred in several other areas across the country, with 16 instances reported on Saturday alone. The Interior Ministry later declared a state of emergency in the Ulsan and North and South Gyeongsang provinces due to the extensive damage caused by simultaneous wildfires across the country. The Forest Agency has also issued severe fire warnings, its highest level, in 12 locations, including North and South Gyeongsang provinces, Busan and Daejeon. Sections of the highways in the region have also been closed as a safety measure.
London's Heathrow Airport resumed full operations on Saturday, a day after a fire knocked out its power supply and shut Europe's busiest airport, causing global travel chaos. Some flights were cancelled or delayed as the travel industry scrambled to reroute passengers and fix battered airline schedules after the huge fire at an electrical substation serving the airport. Resumed flights had begun on Friday evening, but the shuttering of the world's 5th busiest airport for most of the day left tens of thousands searching for scarce hotel rooms and replacement seats while airlines tried to return jets and crew to bases. The travel industry, facing the prospect of a financial hit costing tens of millions of pounds and a likely fight over who should pay, questioned how such crucial infrastructure could fail without backup. Britain's newspapers were critical of the airport, whilst the broadsheets led with the serious disruptions to travellers and businesses following the cancellation of more than 1,000 flights on Friday.
Hai, bersama-sama kami Awatar AI Berita RTM, saya Aaron Lim.
Dan saya Cik Rita. Musim perayaan ini kami ada sedikit pesanan.
Sebelum keluar dari rumah, pastikan pintu dan tingkap dikunci. Jangan lupa tutup suis dan paip air juga.
Periksa kenderaan dulu sebelum memulakan perjalanan.
Rancang perjalanan dan sentiasa berhati-hati ketika memandu. Pakai tali pinggang keledar dan elakkan penggunaan telefon bimbit.
Kalau rasa penat atau mengantuk, rehat sekejap di R&R yang disediakan atau berhenti di tempat yang selamat.
Pantau juga anak-anak kecil ketika berhari raya. Adik-adik, jangan main mercun. Bahaya.
Hari raya memanglah makanan sedap-sedap, tapi makan kena beringat juga. Kurangkan makanan berlemak dan bergula.
Akhir sekali, pada hari raya ini, hargai setiap detik bersama yang tersayang.
Pesanan ikhlas daripada kami di RTM, teman setia anda. Selamat Hari Raya Aidilfitri. Maaf zahir dan batin. Syukuri Syawal.
Syukuri Syawal.
Piastri takes his first pole in China. Stay with us. McLaren's Oscar Piastri seized the first proper pole position of his Formula One career at the Chinese Grand Prix on Saturday with the fastest lap yet around the Shanghai International Circuit.
The Australian, a two-time race winner who has had sprint poles before, lapped in 1 minute 30.641 seconds and was joined on the front row for Sunday's start by George Russell after the Mercedes driver put in a storming final effort of 1 minute 30.723 seconds. McLaren's Lando Norris, the winner of the season opener in Australia and leader of the championship, abandoned his final lap and will start third with Red Bull's Max Verstappen fourth. Ferrari filled the third row with Lewis Hamilton securing fifth after winning the earlier sprint race and teammate Charles Leclerc sixth. Piastri had finished second in the sprint, bagging 7 points, and can now look forward to scoring a sackful more on Sunday. French rookie Isaac Hadjar qualified 7th for Racing Bulls, a strong response to his nightmare debut in Melbourne, with Mercedes' Andrea Kimi Antonelli 8th and Yuki Tsunoda 9th for Racing Bulls. Alex Albon completed the top 10 in a Williams.
Alexander Zverev has Australian Jordan Thompson in his sights after advancing to the round of 32 at the Miami Open. Zverev looked comfortable against British qualifier Jacob Fernley as the German makes a solid serve with dominance from the baseline while saving the only 2 break points before winning 6-2, 6-4.
For Zverev, who lost at the first hurdle in Indian Wells, the win gave him a German record 145th Masters 1000 win, one more than Tommy has. He now faces Thompson, who booked his spot with a gritty win over Giovanni Mpacci Pericard. Zverev's title hopes receive a boost on Friday when second seed Carlos Alcaraz crashed out with a shock defeat to Belgian veteran David Goffin. There was an upset for 13th seeded American Ben Shelton, who was knocked out by 20-year-old wildcard Coleman Wong of Hong Kong. Wong, 128th in the world, battled his way to a 7-6, 2-6, 7-6 victory despite letting slip a 5-2 lead in the final set. His victory provides him with a place in the third round of a Masters 1000 for the first time in his career.
In another match, American Riley Opelka reached the third round in Miami by edging out Dane Holger Rune, the number 11 seed, 4-6, 6-3, 7-6 at the Hard Rock Stadium on Saturday. Opelka and Rune battled for more than 2 hours, with the big American firing 21 aces down the latter's court. After getting cleanly beaten by an Opelka backhand that evened the third set tiebreaker at 2-all, Rune spent several minutes arguing with the umpire and tournament officials. He complained that the stadium lights turning on during the point had been a hindrance, but was denied and the point stood. Opelka hit a staggering 44 winners, averaging 76% on his first serve points and 67% on the second to send the last standing Indian Wells semi-finalist out of contention in Miami. In other action, third-seeder Taylor Fritz advanced with a 7-6, 6-3 win over unseeded Italian Lorenzo Sonego. The American number 1, who has only reached one ATP Masters 1000 final, did not offer up a single break point as he found his form on serve on the back of his defeat to Jack Draper at Indian Wells. In the women's draw, world number 1 Aryna Sabalenka reached the last 16 at the Miami Open when Elena Gabriela Ruse retired injured on Saturday. Sabalenka, who arrived in Miami fresh off a loss in last week's Indian Wells final, wrapped up the first set 6-1 before Romanian Ruse was forced to retire with a right thigh injury.
Sabalenka had taken the first set 6-1 before Ruse retired with a thigh problem in the first game of the second. It was not the Romanian's day, as she could barely compete against the world number 1. The Belarusian is now resting among the top 16 of the draw. Later, the Minsk native's first words were to think of Ruse and wish her a speedy recovery. In a surprising turn of events at the 2025 WTA Miami Open, Jasmine Paolini advanced to the last 16 after her opponent, Ons Jabeur, retired during Saturday's match. The match took place at the Hard Rock Stadium in Miami, where Paolini was leading Jabeur 4-3 in the first set when Jabeur decided to withdraw due to a left leg injury. This unexpected retirement not only ended Jabeur's run in the tournament, but also solidified Paolini's position as a contender moving forward. Third seed Coco Gauff also progressed with a 6-2, 6-4 win over Greece's Maria Sakkari. The 21-year-old world number 3, who needed just 47 minutes to beat Sofia Kenin in the previous round, reached the last 16 in Miami for the third time in her career.
Toyota's championship leader Elfyn Evans will go into the final day of Safari Rally Kenya with a nearly 2-minute advantage over Hyundai's Otana as teammate Kalle Rovanpera's challenge faded on a chaotic Saturday. The Welsh driver started the day only 7.7 seconds clear of Rovanpera, but won the opening 2 stages and ended up 1 minute and 57.4 seconds ahead of Tanak.
Elfyn Evans is poised to extend his FIA World Rally Championship WRC lead after surviving a chaotic Saturday at Safari Rally Kenya, ending the penultimate leg with a hefty 1 minute 57.4 seconds advantage. Providing he stays out of trouble, Evans, who arrived in Kenya holding a 28-point championship lead, is set for a first Safari victory. Hyundai's reigning champion Thierry Neuville was in third place, but more than 4.5 minutes off the lead after a day of punctures and misted windscreens, with Toyota's Takamoto Katsuta fourth. Rovanpera's hopes of taking the lead disappeared when he suffered a front right tyre delamination and then a front left puncture. Rainy conditions in the afternoon left the Finn with a damaged rear suspension, and the lost time dropped him back to 5th overall. Sunday's final day has 5 more stages.
Patrick Reed and Carlos Ortiz will enter the final round of the International Series Macau tied at 16 under, setting up an intense battle for the title at Macau Golf and Country Club. Reed, who has led since the opening round, carded a 3 under par 67 on Saturday, while Ortiz posted a 66 to catch him. Reed and Ortiz hold a 3-shot lead over Germany's Dominic Fuchs and American Jason Kokrak, who both shot 65. Reed seemed in control early, holding a 4-shot lead after 6 holes. However, a crucial 3-shot swing on the 7th allowed Ortiz to close the gap. While Reed bogeyed, Ortiz chipped in for an eagle, cutting the lead to 1 at the turn. Ortiz pulled even with a birdie on the 10th, but Reed reclaimed the lead with a birdie on the 13th. The back-and-forth battle continued, with both players dropping shots on the 14th before Reed bogeyed the penultimate hole, leaving them tied heading into Sunday. Reed, who won the Hong Kong Open last November for his first Asian tour and International Series title, is eyeing his 11th professional victory since turning pro in 2011. Meanwhile, Ortiz is looking to claim his second win on the tour after capturing the International Series Oman title last year.
Semangat Harimau Melaya membara. Sorakkan sokongan untuk pasukan kebangsaan kita yang membawa nama negara ke kejohanan terbesar Asia. Dalam perlawanan kelayakan Piala Asia AFC 2027, Selasa 25 Mac, Malaysia bertemu Nepal 9.30 malam di saluran Sukan RTM dan saluran OK. Saksikan juga secara penstreaman langsung di RTM Klik.
Still to come in our offbeat segment, landmarks in Tokyo, Hong Kong switch off lights to mark Earth Hour.
Landmarks in Japan's capital, Tokyo, and Hong Kong's Victoria Harbour switched off their lights for 1 hour on Saturday to mark Earth Hour, a global campaign to raise awareness of climate change. Tokyo Tower and skyscrapers across Hong Kong's iconic Victoria Harbour went dark to celebrate the annual event. In Hong Kong, lights were switched off from 8:30 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. Yami Loong, Education Director of World Wild Fund for Nature WWF Hong Kong, cited the World Meteorological Organization's WMO state of the Global Climate Report, which confirmed that 2024 was likely the first year to exceed 1.5 degrees Celsius above pre-industrial levels, making it the warmest in 175 years. He urged immediate action to protect the environment by changing the way we live. First launched in Sydney in 2007, Earth Hour has primarily focused on the climate crisis, but has more recently expanded its mission to highlight the urgent issue of nature loss. Real-life droids from the Star Wars franchise stole the spotlight at NVIDIA's annual Software Developer Conference in San Jose, California earlier this week. Disney showcased 2 droids that can walk, dance, and express emotions, and allowed attendees to interact with them at the NVIDIA booth on the showroom floor in the San Jose Convention Center.
So I think it's because you see not a mechanical system, you see a believable robotic character that emotes, right? So, it can express happiness, it dances, but it can also express that it's shy at the moment. So it also can express that it is a bit angry. So if you come too close and it needs its space, right, then it can express that it's angry. So it's these emotions and it's sort of a fully complete character that we were able to build, I think, that touches people in.
The droid also appeared on stage with NVIDIA CEO Jensen Huang during his keynote speech. Known as BDX droids, the creatures have appeared in the Star Wars TV show The Mandalorian and in 2 of the franchise video games Fallen Order and Survivor. Although not fully autonomous, the droids are operated by a puppeteer with a controller. The droids, however, do control their own balance and gait, skills they acquire through reinforcement learning. The droids have already interacted with guests at Disney parks and are currently touring various Disney properties. The final stretch from a delivery truck to a customer's door, known in the logistics industry as the last mile, is often one of the most time and labor-intensive parts of the job for delivery drivers around the world. River, a robotics company from Switzerland, showcased a robot designed to tackle that job at NVIDIA's annual Software Developer Conference in San Jose, California.
And it's a very exhausting job. So what we are building is like an augmenting that workflow by having a robot that covers some of these miles so the driver can focus on other things.
The robot, named Milo, is designed to independently travel from a delivery truck to a customer's doorstep and can traverse a variety of obstacles along its route. It's equipped with 4 legs that allow it to hop down from a truck to the ground, wheels that let it whiz down the sidewalk, and a crane-like arm on top that can directly hand customers an envelope or small package. The robot uses AI technology to make decisions about how to navigate obstacles in its path. River robots are already making deliveries to real-world customers in Switzerland, and Jalonic said the company is eyeing expansion in the US to cities including San Francisco and Boston.
That's it from us this afternoon. In our top story, pro-Trump senator meets China's vice premier amid trade tensions. Malaysia Tonight comes on at 8:30 this evening and TV1 and MyTV's Berita RTM news channel. From the river to the sea, Palestine will be free. I'm Daniel Baharudin. Thank you for watching. Assalamualaikum. Salam Malaysia Madani.